Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Teller podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbonneau, and with me is my co-host, John Bristow. How are you doing, John?
Good. It's been a while. I've been away. I've been on leave. I had some family visit me here in Australia, and I kept telling them the weather's great at this time of year, and then it rained their whole time. So sorry about
That always happens, doesn't it?
that. It does.
'Cause, as soon as you jinx yourself, that's when everything goes awry. Like
Yeah.
we went on a trip, and my family had never been on like a long haul flight before, and I was like, yeah, so don't believe everything everyone tells you about airline food. It's really not that bad, and like it was the worst airline like ever.
Oh
They're like,
no.
Dad, you lied so bad. Like I didn't lie. Like my experience has been good. You guys just did not have that experience. It's like the weather in Seattle. Every time I'm there, it's sunny, but
Yep.
most people would say it's not like that. But I hope you had a good break, John. We are back
I did.
with a ton of news. A ton of news.
Mm,
It is the age of agents. Did you know, John?
I
It's
did.
the age of
Yeah, I
agents.
heard. Yeah, I heard that.
So if you caught any glimpse of Microsoft Build, you probably know that it is agent filled. I didn't watch all of the sessions. I did kind of look at a summary of a lot of the sessions that were being shown. Picked through some of the favorites that I wanted to see. There's just too much content for one person to watch in
Yeah.
5 days' time. But I saw a lot of the same messaging across all of it. It was a very coordinated effort. I think they want us to use agents, John.
Yeah, certainly that perception. I mean, obviously, it's eating the world. Everyone's talking about it, and I think that's kind of what we were anticipating for a long time. Is that the talk would move away from, kind of what's capable with these LLMs, and more to the, all right, let's make these things actually work and give it some context, and that's what agents allow you to do.
So their messaging was a vision of the internet where AI agents make decisions and perform tasks on behalf of users and organizations. Brings a little bit of Skynet, but I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Oh, sure.
Um, Jokes aside, there was a lot of stuff that is useful to developers like you and I. They announced that GitHub Copilot is being open sourced, so the front end of uh, the GitHub Copilot chat in Visual Studio Code is something that you can now take, extend, contribute back to. Um, there's a bunch of reasons why this was probably done. Some of them having to do with competition in the market. So there's things like Cursor and so on and so forth that are kind of competing in the space of VS Code, which is kind of odd because it's a fork of VS Code. So by open sourcing the GitHub Copilot chat interface here, it's easier for third parties to get involved in creating new experiences for Visual Studio Code and in the Copilot chat space. So it's actually broadening the market there, but it's keeping it within the walls of Visual Studio Code, if that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
one way to look at it.
yeah. During Satch's keynote, he used the phrase which caught my attention: changing GitHub Copilot to be less of a what was the term? Something less of a something like an agent and more of a peer in terms of coding.
Mhm.
Now, incidentally, I don't know if you saw this, but on Hacker News they certainly did. They've basically to try and test bed a bunch of this stuff. What they're doing now is they're actually utilizing Copilot for a lot of change requests in a number of .NET repos. So if you take a look at some of the .NET repos that are out there, there's a whole bunch of different PRs that are coming in through right now, and the code is not great. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've had a mixed bag with the Copilot stuff. The agent style interface is doing a lot better, I've noticed. And it's not so much that it's hitting different endpoints or doing anything different in the background. What it's doing in the foreground is they had in Visual Studio like this ask type of chat behavior, and you would put in, I want to do X, Y, and Z with this file, and it would create some code, and that code might not work, and there's compiler errors, and it's not a great solution to a problem. Sometimes it's more of a problem than it is a solution. With the agent style, if you've ever worked with Cursor or any of those things that may have inspired this, what they do is it's like more of a continual flow type of a process. So you might ask it to, say, add a React component or a Blazor component to your UI. It'll go through and write the code to do that, but now it'll compile it. And if it catches errors, it'll feed back into itself, and it'll say, okay, I added this component, but this property, I must have hallucinated because it's throwing an error. There's no such property on this component. And then compiler error, how do I fix this compiler error? And then it'll start feeding back into this agent loop of reasoning about what's wrong until it gets a clean compile. And then you can accept the changes if you like them. And I've seen things work tremendously well with this. For example, I took a chunk of HTML code, pasted it into an application, said make UI components from the existing HTML code, went through and it chunked them all out to what their semantic meaning was, put them in different components, and then made them interactive. So if it, say an HTML fragment had a button and a panel that had similar, naming conventions, it would actually click the button, the panel opens and closes. Like, it knew how to do simple stuff like that. Very impressive. The same chat agent, I told it to remove a certain feature flag from the application, and it went into an infinite loop spiral of death, creating root component upon root component upon root component upon root. You see where I'm going with this? Upon root component, until I stopped it from burning all of the coal in Kentucky. So it has its wins, it has its losses.
Sure.
It's just the beginning. It'll get better, I promise. But Copilot, I think, is here to stay. Have you tried any of these things with any success, John?
Various degrees of success, I would say.
Another thing that they announced at Build, which I didn't realize that this was so much an introduction, but it's been renamed like 3 times over the last couple of years. So I just kind of got used to the latest name, and that is Windows AI Foundry. And this is a place for developers to build all of their AI stuff. And you can deploy models, you can create agents, you can do all of those AI things. You could create chat prompts for your chatbots. There's all sorts of stuff in the AI Foundry. So if you're looking for like a one-stop shop for all of that, check out Azure, jump over to AI Foundry, and you can build all your stuff in there. There's new models in AI Foundry as well. So they brought the Grok 3 model from formerly Twitter, now X.
Yep.
Or XAI. I guess it's its own entity now that they played that shell game and moved it to XAI. Is that how you say it? XAI? I don't know. Yeah. So there's all sorts of models in there, DeepSeek's in there, all of your usual AI LLM models. There's a lot of ones for multimodal as well, vision, speech to text, text to speech. You do all of that stuff inside the Azure Foundry models and deploy them, customize them as well. Again, agents were discussed really heavily. So you can deploy agents from the Foundry as well. And then, of course, like all of the Office 365 stuff has the same type of ecosystem inside of it. So you've got your Microsoft 365 Copilot, agents, all of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
this stuff moves fast, John. We just started talking about MCP server like 2 shows ago, and this was part of the big AI future at Build as well. Was talking about model context protocol, which is kind of like SOAP for AI, for lack of a better term. I think we joked about that before. Like it's
That's an acronym I haven't heard in a while. SOAP.
yeah. I mean, if you know what SOAP is, it's basically that idea. But for AI, this is based around the idea of tool calling. All of your large language models these days, the more modern ones can call functions or tools, and then MCP is like a metadata around that and a hosting platform. So it could be locally hosted, it could be cloud hosted, it could be talking over HTTP, or there's another protocol it uses for local. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a remote procedure call type of thing. But basically these things have metadata that annotates what each function or tool does in human readable, natural language. And the large language models understand natural language, so they can easily talk to these tools without a whole lot of programming or concrete implementation. So you could kind of say, hey, large language model, now there's this search tool available. Anytime somebody uses these phrases or keywords like search for, etc., you can call this and it's going to bring you back results, and you can integrate those results into your response. So it's a very powerful tool, and it's easy to set up relatively. And but that was a big part of this as well.
Yep. Did you happen to watch the keynote, by the way?
I did watch the keynote.
Did you see the protesters that were in the audience?
There was a protest. Happened to be a person who works for Microsoft. So they're protesting various conflicts in the Middle East, and that was about all I read about it.
Yeah, I couldn't make out what the person was saying over the official feed, and then there was people who got their phones out, obviously, but it looked like there was more than one person there. So
yeah, without getting too far,
an event where that's happened. So
yeah, without getting too far into the weeds on it, apparently, and I'm not up to speed on all of this, so I may be wrong on the details, but from what I understand, Microsoft may have some sort of dealings into the what do you call it, defense contracting space. And then when you write code as a developer and then you find out your employer is using that to blow up people, whether that's what's happening here or not, I'm not sure, but that's the concept, right? You're building something that's being weaponized, we'll just say it that way.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Then people get pretty upset at that type of thing, especially when there's like religions involved and all sorts of social politics, international politics. Yeah. And
I couldn't make out what it was about, but I had never seen that before at a Microsoft event. I've been to a ton of Microsoft keynotes. I've never seen a protest before. So there you go.
I don't believe this is the first time this has happened at a Microsoft event. So yep, that was that in a nutshell.
So it had it all, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
The event.
That was at the very beginning, right?
Okay.
So Satya was just trying to talk over him or them or whoever, and continue on with this keynote, and they were just ranting over him. I don't have any other commentary on it other than it happened.
That's fine.
That's what I know about it.
Throwing it out there to make it, it's exciting and interesting and all, more than just technology. So there you go.
I'll stay neutral on the position there and just say it happened. .NET Aspire is here. .NET 9.3, or sorry, .NET Aspire 9.3 with GitHub Copilot enhancements. Jeff Fritz reported on this. They've got a new dashboard with all sorts of new insights. The dashboard's really shaping up nice. I don't know if you've seen this, and it looks like they integrated a Copilot dashboard into the dashboard.
Yeah.
So you can run Aspire and then ask Copilot questions about your microservices that are running in it.
Yeah, very common scenario you see with AI use these days, especially through prompts. You'll see this sort of,
Mhm.
it's like the universal symbol now for AI, the 2 stars, but basically allows you in the dashboard now to summarize log messages. You can identify root causes for problems. You can take a look at performance issues in your traces. So really will extend out the capabilities there.
Okay. So that's a really cool enhancement. The user interface here looks really nice. I've been dabbling with Aspire a bit. I didn't really think it'd be something I would use all that much, even though I'm a web developer, but I find it actually pretty handy for organizing all the different services. And then AI comes along and you're like, hey, I want to run some models on top of what I'm doing here, and I want to run them locally. You could actually do that inside of Aspire with literally like 3 lines of code.
Yeah.
So you can stand up a large language model, host it, and consume it literally like 3 lines of code. And I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying 3 lines. It's literally like, it's one API call with like 3 statements. It's like add model, add the persistence layer to it, so it saves it to disk, and then then you basically name it, and then on the other end you say, all right, I named it, here's the name of it, use it, and it works. It's very cool. If you're doing any AI development, this type of stuff is really handy, so you don't blow up your tokens or rate limits. So you could pull in a model locally and do some of the lightweight work and like just, check things intermittently and see if they're responding and doing what you expect them to do. And then you can kind of switch over to, the bigger hosted ones when you're ready to launch. So it's nice for a...
I was going to share anecdotally. You go. I was going to say anecdotally. No, you're good. I was just waiting. There's a bit of a delay. I was going to say anecdotally, we're actually doing this on our side at Octopus Deploy, so we're building out an AI aspect element of it. The question becomes like, do you build this in the product, or how do you approach this? And so the way that we've done this is we've built a Chrome extension. So we annotate our UI with this Chrome extension to provide AI capabilities, and we're doing this as part of an experiment. Whether or not we decide to bake this into the product or not is something that we're thinking about. But this is one of the ways. Like, so if you're a person working on this and you're thinking about integrating AI into your product, you can leverage what we did, which was build a Chrome extension, simple wrapper. And what we do is we just surface out the visual capabilities on top of that via the Chrome extension. So you don't have to bake it into your product just yet. And that's a good way to experiment.
Nice. I like the Chrome extension idea.
Yeah.
Where it's, like you said, it's lightweight. You don't have to go through an installer. You don't have to worry about what platform it's running on, all of that type of thing. Good stuff, John. More Microsoft news. We had a lot of Microsoft news, folks. Edit is now open source. This must have been new. I don't know what the heck Edit is.
Yeah, so Edit is a new command line editor. It's similar to, I guess, VI or Emacs. So, it's a new tool that you can check out. It's definitely interesting from that perspective. So definitely worth checking out. I haven't had a chance to play with this yet. I just saw this. So there you go.
Did you see the Hanselman announcement that Notepad is getting AI and Markdown support?
That's awesome.
Exactly what we needed. .NET Preview 10 or .NET 10 Preview 4 is out. I haven't kept up with all of the new stuff in this latest release. Doesn't look like there's a lot here, but is there anything that you wanted to highlight, John?
So as the title says, I mean it's a preview, right? So um, it's always a challenge to keep up to these things, keep up with these things. But basically, if you're looking to stay on the bleeding edge, you can certainly do so. This was actually released as part of build, so there's a bunch of capabilities there. So they typically focus around these things. So it's either library, runtime, or some derivative thereof. So the big ones that kind of came up for me is more improvement around obviously zip archive support. So they've added things like async zip APIs, which is awesome. These things can get pretty big. We know this well on the Octopus deploy side. We have a package repository, and people send through their deployments. They'll have like gigabyte zip archives, and so being able to compress and decompress these things takes a while. So having them as an async API makes sense. Runtime,
Hmm.
obviously, more improvements there. There's stuff on the ASP.NET Core Blazor side. The ones that jumped out to me is JSON patch support. That's huge because JSON patch as an operation is pretty important, especially when working with web APIs. There's a bunch of other changes as well that went into this, MAUI as well. But .NET 10 support around the previews is rolling along, and that's its intent.
I've been following the Microsoft extensions AI libraries pretty closely. So that initiative is to bring AI interfaces and objects into .NET, similar to like a system.io, but for working with large language models, text responses from these type of services,
Yeah.
multimodal inference, all of that stuff. I've been following that pretty closely, and we've been doing some stuff with that here at Progress. So we had a release recently, and let me see if I can find out where this just went. There we go. I'm going to show a quick video of something that we built and got announced at Build. Because
Nice.
Microsoft Extensions AI has given us the iChat client interface, and this is something that we can rely on in the .NET code base, we've enabled it on our Telerik AI prompt component out of the box. And what that means is you can start with a .NET Blazor or ASP.NET application and use the iChat client service in your project, and that will automatically light up the UI within our Telerik AI prompt component. All we have to do is first register our iChat client in the program CS file, which I already have here. Next, all I have to do is add the AI prompt to my application. So I'll say Telerik AI prompt. When I save this, my project will update and I can immediately start chatting with my AI assistant. I can say, what is Telerik UI for Blazor? Hit generate, and this will use the underlying iChat client to generate the text for me. This one's being backended by the OpenAI services in Azure. Now I can even extend this further by taking the AI prompt and doing a little bit of customization with it. I can set up some prompts that are predetermined to help guide the user. So when they're using the component, there are predetermined values for them to just click on and generate some text. So we'll go ahead and refresh the application. And you can see that I've got some prompt suggestions here. These are acting as a marketing role, and I can just click on one, hit generate, and I have my AI generated output with just a few lines of code.
Very
Pretty
nice,
cool.
Ed.
Like
Very nice.
you don't have to. So you don't have to do any of the manual wiring up for that type of stuff. If you just want to add some basic chat functionality, maybe you have a model that is hosted in Azure Foundry, AI Foundry, that's already customized. Maybe it already has a system prompt embedded in it. You can just light it up through the UI without any code, really. Just have to register the interface, which that is super simple to do on the server side. And then the front end will just pick that interface up and consume it. It's really cool stuff. So the addition of the iChat client interface to .NET is going to be really nice for folks that are wanting to add AI to their applications with very minimal kind of moving pieces. And we had an announcement today of our latest Kendo UI and Teller DevCraft products, and we have a lot of AI-based things in there, like the prompt component that I showed you that just picks up the internals of .NET and makes it work, as well as AI coding assistance. So Microsoft has added support for MCP server in both Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code, and we have an endpoint for that will help you build with our products. So if you have Teller UI for Blazor, and you want to write, a page that has some of our components in it, you can ask the assistant for help with that, and it will pick up the context of the Teller components and call out to an AI assistant that we have and integrate with Copilot and give it answers and context around our APIs and our components. So it's really just making a seamless integration between the agent that's running and our agent through MCP server. So really cool stuff there. Also, something else that's really exciting about .NET MAUI. MAUI's been up for a little while now, and people are really enjoying the Blazor hybrid experience there. So we have components now that adapt really well to mobile devices. So we've got our Teller UI grid that has nice touch interactions and stuff. So you can put those in a MAUI app and run them on like an Android platform natively. Right. So that's all really cool stuff. So if you want to see more of that stuff, we have a webinar coming up beginning of next month. It's Monday, June 2nd for Kendo UI and Wednesday, June 4th for all of the .NET stuff. So a lot of Microsoft things we talked about, John. There is more than Microsoft out there. Did you happen to catch any of the Google news?
Oh God, no! What do you want me to do? Like I got a job.
You do?
Yes. Tell me everything I need to know about Google I/O,
Ed. Can you guess? The obligatory
AI.
answer
is
there you
this
go.
as Google AI now instead of I/O?
Yeah. So basically, everything that you saw at the Microsoft event, just put the word Google or Gemini in front of it. No, I'm just kidding. Google is actually very different. So surprisingly enough, their event is not the same as Microsoft's because Google has a lot of consumer products. So we saw a lot of consumer related things at Google I/O and also developer things. So they had like Android mixed reality glasses. There were also like upgrades to like Google TV, the Google Watch, and all of those things. So if you're, a Google consumer, there was a lot of stuff in there for you. And then, of course, if you're a developer or just on like the Google platforms, the Gemini Assistant is getting some updates. There was a new model introduced to some preview users called Google. Let me find the name of it. I've got it written down here. It was called Google Gemini Diffusion. And this is a new diffusion-based model. So if you've ever heard of Stable Diffusion,
yes,
this was an AI that was early in the image generation category. Apparently, they've retasked it with text-based inference now. And that has done really well. So they were touting big numbers for like speed, accuracy, all of that. And they were putting it into like coding assistants, and it was doing really good stuff with like UI related tasks. And there was a whole bit around the new diffusion model. So there was that. Let's see. There was the XR stuff. And let's see, I've got more than what's covered in this article, just written down in some notes I took. There are new assistants for developers doing Android development. So Android Studio got an agent called Journeys. So this is like an agent that you can give tasks to go do and build code for your Android applications. within Android Studio. And another one that kind of complements that, or is a sister product to it, in my opinion anyway, is called Jules. And Jules is a web version of that concept.
Okay.
So it's not your coding assistant like Copilot necessarily, but this is like a task runner type of
Okay.
an agent. It's an AI agent. You can try this at jules.google.com.
Okay.
And we'll zoom in here so you can read this a little bit. It says, Meet Jules, an async development agent, tackles bugs, small feature requests, and other software engineering tasks with direct export to GitHub.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have not tried this yet, but
Interesting.
this summary is different than, what you think of like Cursor and Copilot, right?
Okay.
So that was announced. That one seems to be free to try right now in some sort of preview. Let's see. We've got some questions coming in on YouTube as well.
So you
Are
gotta
you
be
using
careful
AI to
you,
code? Let's see.
you gotta be careful with these things. So Ed, I'm gonna share with you the Slack. I didn't post this in our notes, but I'm gonna
Okay.
share with you in private chat the Reddit post that is called "My New Hobby: Watching AI Slowly Drive Microsoft Employees Insane." And basically, it's in that
Okay.
same vein of being careful about utilizing AI in that context. So they provide some examples of PRs where it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So interesting stuff.
So yeah, this is similar to what I was talking about earlier. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so to answer the question on YouTube, yes, I am using it to code, but it isn't always a good thing. I mentioned earlier, like I had to create components, not from scratch, but like we have products that span like 5 different front end development frameworks, and they're not all at parity. So I was like, I really want component A from this library in this other library, and we don't have it. So I took the markup from it, pasted it into Visual Studio, and told it to go ahead and create those components for a different front end, just based on the HTML and CSS. And it was able to do it with flying colors. And then in the same regard, like I just said, remove pre-rendering from Blazor, which is a really simple task, but I just couldn't remember the syntax and I was being lazy. And I made the mistake of asking the agent to do it. And then the agent went in a infinite loop of building root components until I squashed the task. It couldn't figure it out for some reason. It would try to remove the rendering feature, and that's not correct. And
Okay.
it was like, oh, so I just need to make a root component with these settings. And then it would run it and it would fail. And it's like, oh, well, maybe if I just make a root component with these settings. And it kept doing the same task repeatedly over and over again until I squashed it. So not everything that comes out of these is great, but it is a thing. People
Okay.
are vibe coding.
Vibe coding. Yes.
Mhm. Claude 4 is also out.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with all of the Sonnet stuff. I try to keep up. There's just too many of them, John. What's going on with Claude 4?
Yeah, so this blew up basically. So it's a coding model, excuse me, and this is from the folks over at Anthropic, and is touted as one of the best. So they've revealed their latest AI model, Claude Opus 4 and Claude Sonnet 4, and basically improves everything. So some of the key highlights with Opus, if you're doing sustained long duration tasks, it has some improvements there. Basically, it allows you to it demonstrate what did they do. They demonstrated the ability to autonomously write and debug code for up to 7 hours. So this is going to apply to the SWE folks or SWE folks. The SWE bench and terminal bench test marks or benchmarks. have been shown to do very well. Around Sonnet 4, this is an improvement over the previous version. So they got enhanced coding and reasoning capabilities, and so lots of stuff there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works for you. So with both Sonnet, with Sonnet and with Opus, those are integrated as a whole for their ability. So Claude Code is the tool, and that integrates with GitHub Actions, VS Code, JetBrains, etc. So there's lots of ways in which you can utilize it. So definitely interesting. Yes,
including playing Pokemon. Like we didn't
that's
get the
right.
proper cue for this, John. Like you should have said something. This is tone.
That's right.
Can Claude play Doom? I don't know. It can play Pokemon.
Maybe.
I'm sure it can play
Who
Doom.
knows?
It probably could. It'd be a real easy one, I think. Speaking of can it play Doom and fun stuff, I thought this was a fun use for AI. Lego GPT, John.
Oh God.
Lego GPT takes text inputs and creates Lego kits.
All right.
And I think this is actually really cool. So you can go in and describe something that you would like to build, and it will generate schematics for building Lego designs based on your requirements.
All right.
I think that's awesome. Like you can the diagram here is just fantastic, by the way.
Think of the possibilities.
A Lego design tokenization. So it's taking Legos, tokenizing them, and then I guess vectorizing this and giving it semantic meaning, and then using Llama 3.2 Instruct 1B, which is LLM,
good,
to I guess do the natural language processing bits. And it's like, okay, I want to make a chair and it has legs, and then it's like, oh, that would be these bricks assembled in this pattern. This is cool. I think it's cool. You can have some stuff all you want. I like it.
All right. Fine.
It's even doing reasoning. Look, it's like, okay, we can use that, but there's a collision here. We need to redo this piece. This is exactly what coding is doing. This is exactly what coding agents are doing right now. It's like it builds a UI component, gets a build error. It doesn't build it for you. It gives you the patterns to follow.
Yeah, but that's part of the reason we have Lego is just to tinker, right? I don't know. Yeah, I get it.
This is tinkering.
All right.
Like, I mean, you buy a Lego kit, it comes with instructions. It's not like you just buy a random bag of colored bricks and you're like, okay, this is gonna be like the AT-AT Walker from Star Wars. Like, you gotta have something to go by.
You go by AT-AT,
with this,
it's AT-AT, dude. Come on.
It's AT-AT, whatever. I'm not a nerd. Give me a break.
Yes, you are.
I am. All right. I mean, I just covered a Lego story and said I'm not a nerd.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I can pretend to be cool on stream, can I?
Yeah, Millhouse. My mom thinks I'm cool.
All right, John. I think that is all we've got for this week. And any parting words?
No, like I said, we've been, if you want to check out what we've been doing, excuse me, on the AI front, if folks, like, because we had a few questions about how are you coding this, we've written a blog post about this. You can find it out on octopus.com. We've done it as a GitHub. We've done it as a Google Chrome extension to try and experiment that way. But let us know, what you guys are doing. Really keen to hear how people are integrating AI into their products.
Yeah, that actually reminds me as well. Like we're doing a lot of AI stuff internally, trying to learn about what folks are doing with AI in their own workflows. We make developer tools, so we really want to improve upon the existing developer tools we have. We're looking at new things that we can solve and stuff like that. So if you go to teller.com we have a survey called the State of AI Agents, and we are doing a state of. So if you want to check out the survey, let us know how you might be using some of the agents. Maybe you saw something cool at.
I like this. I like this.
Thanks. Yeah, this is nice. This is one of my coworkers, Lubov, that put this together, and he did a really good job on getting a good, comprehensive summary of questions that
How
we
many
can ask.
how many folks are you guys gonna try and target? Like what number of people are you trying to get surveyed?
I'm not familiar with the number of people exactly that we're trying to get, but I think as many as we can right now.
Yeah.
We would like to get on top of this. So if you'd like to share this, if you know somebody who's into AI, maybe you're not, they might think this is kind of cool. Share this out. Again, you can find that at Telerik.com in the yellow banner. Take the State of AI survey, and then it'll bump you right over to the survey itself. And then at the fourth quarter, sometime we're going to publish results from this and see what people are doing with their AI agents. And I think this would be really good information.
That is, I love the state of types of things.
Yeah.
So definitely keen on that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it once we get the results back and share that. So can you know?
Yes.
All right, John. That is it. Enjoy your weekend, my friend.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week. Take care.